This is macOS Ken.
Making way for hearing health, making way for Apple Intelligence, and that iPad mini you don't even have yet already needs an update. It is Tuesday, the 22nd of October, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Incogni, helping you take back your personal data. Get 60% off an annual plan with code macOSKen at incogni.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by 1Password Extended Access Management. Your staff is quick and resourceful. That's why you hired them. You give them a task, they get it done. Thing is, they may not know why you have them do things the way you have them do them. You have certain apps and devices you want them to use. They know a quicker way with other apps and devices. They do it their way, and everybody's happy, except maybe for your security people, because they can't keep your workplace secure on apps and devices about which they don't know. That is where 1Password Extended Access Management comes in. It brings all those unmanaged devices, applications, and identities under your control, making sure every user credential is strong and protected, every device is known and healthy, and every app is visible. 1Password Extended Access Management solves the problems traditional identity and access management and mobile device management miss. It's available now to companies with Okta and Microsoft Entra, and in beta for Google Workspace customers. Your people want to do a good job. Let 1Password Extended Access Management help them do it safely. Check it out at onepassword.com/macOSKen. That is the number 1, onepassword.com/macOSKen. Next Monday, the 28th of October, is the thing. The day when Apple will release iOS and iPadOS 18.1, macOS 15.1, watchOS 11.1, tvOS 18.1, and visionOS 2.1. Anyway, that's the word for my download blog, based on reports from Mac Rumors, The Verge, Wired, Tech Radar, CNBC, and Tom's Guide. Now, I cannot tell you how much I don't want to be that guy, but the only place I can find that says Monday is the day is iDownload blog. Everybody else says the week of the 28th of October, so probably Monday, but whatever. If you're wondering why that list of sites would have any indication, it's because of the hearing health features coming to the iOS 18.1 AirPods Pro 2 combo. Lots of sites got to try it out. In addition to the ones mentioned a moment ago, a piece from Cult of Mac says CNET and the Wall Street Journal also got a crack. Props in the piece to CNET for taking a hearing test with an audiologist and comparing that to the test on the iPhone and AirPods Pro 2. Results were pretty similar between the two, according to that review. Still, you gotta give mad props to the Journal for actually trying the hearing aid functionality on somebody who actually needs a hearing aid. The Journal gave a pair to a 74-year-old woman already diagnosed with hearing loss. According to that take, the woman marveled at how incredibly clear the AirPods sounded in an apparently busy restaurant. Pros listed by reviewers include the low cost compared to traditional hearing aids, and the fact that they work. The biggest con seems to be battery life. They work for about 6 hours on a full charge versus all day for dedicated hearing aids. The Cult suggests people planning to use AirPods full-time should consider buying 2 pair. If you're looking forward to trying AirPods Pro 2 as hearing aids, here's hoping you live in the US or Canada. While Apple said back in September that the hearing test and hearing aid features are expected to receive marketing authorization from global health authorities soon and will be available this fall in more than 100 countries and regions, that is apparently not happening by next week. A piece from 9to5Mac says a footnote on Apple's website indicates that the new feature will only be available to users located in the US and Canada. Maybe that will change between now and next week. If not, there are a couple of months of fall left in the Northern Hemisphere. Game-changing though the hearing health feature may be for some, the headline grabber for iOS 18.1 and its ilk is Apple Intelligence. No fun features like Image Playground and Genmoji will not be there, but a piece from Mac Rumors says potentially practical features like writing tools, smart replies in messages and mail, and a somewhat more advanced Siri will be. Other fun features specifically for iOS 18.1 include phone call recording and transcription, and the option to take spatial photos on iPhone 15 Pro. A quick reminder, the Apple Intelligence features for iPhone and iPad will only work on iPhone 15 Pro or later, iPads running an M1 processor or later, and the 7th generation iPad mini due out tomorrow. Also, a piece from 9to5Mac says there will be a wait for Apple Intelligence. Not just for the fun features coming later, and not just for next week's OS arrivals. The report says once the operating systems are out, Apple will use a waitlist for granting access to its AI features. After installing iOS 18.1, the piece says people wanting access ASAP will need to go to Settings, then Apple Intelligence and Siri to get on the list. While waits have not been long throughout the various betas, 9to5Mac says they will be determined by demand, which is probably going to be bigger once the line's open to everybody. If you want to jump that line, the report suggests signing up for Apple's public beta program because, yet release candidates for iOS 18.1 and iPadOS 18.1 were seeded to both developers and public testers on Monday. 9to5Mac figures people who sign up even at this late date at beta.apple.com can jump ahead of the potential millions of iOS 18.1 users who will be joining the waitlist next week. And they say you'll get the exact same iOS 18.1 experience with minimal bugs or performance issues. Well, it smells safe. Remember the problem we talked about yesterday? The one that had an unknown number of iPhone 16 models freezing and randomly restarting? It will be fixed next week. Along with new Apple Intelligence features, another piece from Mac Rumors says iOS 18.1 addresses that frustrating bug. Plenty of other bugs pounced upon as well. Others addressed include a podcast issue that could cause unplayed episodes to be marked as played, a problem with stuttering or overheating when scrubbing through 4K 60 frames per second videos and photos, and an issue that could cause digital car keys to not work in certain situations. iPhones and iPads aren't the only Apple devices accessing Apple Intelligence. Any Mac powered by Apple Silicon will as well. Well, powered by Apple Silicon and running macOS Sequoia 15.1. A piece from Mac Rumors says a release candidate for that was also seeded to developers and public testers on Monday. Meanwhile, a separate piece from Mac Rumors says same goes for tvOS 18.1 and visionOS 2.1. Yeah, I got no problem believing that for tvOS, but I thought Apple wasn't doing the public beta thing for the headset yet. Either Mac Rumors goofed in saying that, or I am goofing in saying this. More news in a moment, but first a word from macOS Ken sponsor, Incogni, helping you take back your personal data. One of the biggest losses of personally identifiable information in a long time happened this year. If you listen to The Checklist, another show I host, you've heard a lot about national public data. They gathered info on millions of people to be used for background checks and by private investigators, and they lost all of that data to bad guys. So where'd they get it in the first place? Well, a lot of it was purchased from data brokers, companies that collect and sell information on people like me and you. You could ask them to take that information down, but you have to know who the data brokers are, how to get in touch with them, and since they are always gathering info to package and sell, you have to be willing to do that, to ask them to take down your information over and over again from now on. Or you can work with Incogni. Make an account, give them permission to work on your behalf, and Incogni requests that data brokers remove your data. They deal with any objections the data brokers may have, and they keep doing it. Whenever a new record is created on a data broker's site, Incogni is ready with another removal request. Whether you want to slow the flow of spam, stifle the annoying robocalls, or guard against identity theft, Incogni is ready to work with you and for you. Take your personal data back with Incogni. Get 60% off an annual plan with code macOS Ken at incogni.com/macOS Ken. That is a huge savings, and it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. INCOGNI. Get 60% off an annual plan with code macOS Ken at incogni.com/macOS Ken. If you're getting one of those new iPad minis tomorrow, there will be an update waiting. A piece from Mac Rumors says Apple's tiny tablet, built for Apple Intelligence, is shipping with iPadOS 18.0. But we're supposed to be running iPadOS 18.0.1 for at least the next week. Apple has a version of that ready to go for the 7th generation iPad mini. Mac Rumors points out that the .0.1 OS included some important bug fixes and security updates, so do the update thing as soon as you can. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman is out with a crazy, not crazy idea. 9to5Mac says the prolific Apple leaker still expects a Mac event this month, which ends in roughly 9 days. The piece has Gurman saying on Threads, latest on Macs, inventory at Apple retail stores is very low on iMacs, Mac Mini, and MacBook Pros, Magic Keyboards, Magic Mouse, and Magic Trackpad. I still anticipate imminent M4 upgrades for the iMac and MacBook Pro, as well as a full-scale Mac Mini overhaul. He goes on to say he's seen no evidence to suggest Apple will hold a full-scale iPhone-like event at its headquarters with press. Instead, he anticipates the announcement to be online-focused, with press hands-on opportunities, not too dissimilar from last year's Scary Fast event. So Gurman says imminent, which 9to5Mac reads as in October. It could happen. Last October, says the piece, Apple announced its Scary Fast event on the 24th of October, and the event was held on the 30th. This suggests we might get an Apple event announcement for the M4 Max as soon as today. Gurman previously reported that the M4 Max could launch on the 1st of November. If you want to sign up for Hulu or Disney Plus, you won't be doing it through the App Store anymore. A piece from Mac Rumors says the house the mouse built. Disney owns Hulu. The house the mouse built is no longer allowing its customers to sign up for and purchase subscriptions to those services through Apple's App Store. The sites for the services indicate that existing Apple Build subscribers are not affected. That said, new and returning subscribers will not be able to pay through Apple, denying Apple its App Store cut, saving Disney from forfeiting the customary 15 to 30% commission. The change comes in lockstep with recent price hikes for both Disney Plus and Hulu. MacRumor says eliminating the in-app purchase fees paid to Apple seems to be part of an effort to boost streaming revenue, paired with price hikes, and also a recent crackdown on password sharing. And finally today, Apple is once again supporting national parks, this time though for a different nation. A piece from 9to5Mac has the Cupertino company supporting a national parks initiative in China geared to providing training and education within the field of nature conservation. The site quotes a report from Guru Focus that says Apple has announced a donation to the China Green Carbon Foundation aimed at developing education and training opportunities in 5 national parks across China. The initiative will facilitate the creation of a National Park Innovation Alliance working group over the coming months, which will bring together top Chinese universities, research institutions, and non-governmental organizations. 9to5Mac sees 2 likely and likely pretty obvious reasons for Apple's participation. First, the company does like a good green initiative. And second, Apple will not go broke pleasing the Chinese government. The piece says making donations to government schemes is an approach Apple has taken before in an effort to show goodwill at a time when diplomatic relationships between the US and China are strained. macOS Can, brought to you by me, and sponsored by 1Password Extended Access Management. Learn more at onepassword.com/macOScan. This show is also sponsored by Incogni. Get 60% off an annual plan with code macOScan at incogni.com/macOScan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.